Jurassic World was a fun but flawed reinvigoration of the Jurassic Park series. It isn't a movie that ages particularly well, but it does enough for it to be worthy of the original. But unfortunately, reinvigorating the series means we end up with movies like Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, a movie that isn't terrible but feels soulless. In my opinion, this is one of the most emotionally dishonest movies I've seen in a while. But I'm an honest person. I try to be objective even when things aren't great. That's why I'm analyzing Fallen Kingdom, looking at 3 of its strengths and 3 of its weaknesses. This is the good and the bad in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. But as objective as I want to be, the story of this movie is its lack of heart, and I've got to start there. Weakness number 1 is nothing feels earned in this movie. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is full of hollow emotional moments. The plot gets kicked off by the revelation that there's going to be an imminent volcanic eruption on Isla Nublar, which will kill all of the dinosaurs that were there from Jurassic World. And the movie immediately tries to yank at our heartstrings by posing a philosophical question about handling dinosaurs versus other endangered animals.
Do dinosaurs deserve the same protections, or should they be left to die?
And by bringing back Ian Malcolm, a fan favorite who's very much in character with his approach to handling this crisis.
We should allow our magnificent, glorious dinosaurs to be taken out by the volcano.
But the sudden introduction of this plot doesn't work because it's rushed. Yeah, the last time we were on the island, the park was in shambles, but the island itself was fine. Now it's an extinction level, catastrophe waiting to happen. My reaction watching this is like, okay? I would have liked to have seen Isla Nublar in this movie in its prime, or seen it become a volcanic hotbed. That would be way more useful in emotionally connecting things than a newscast or reintroducing Malcolm. And seeing Malcolm is fun, but I can't help but feel he's solely here for the final line of the movie.
Welcome to Jurassic World.
I personally think the entire movie should have focused on Owen wanting to save Blue, with Claire wanting to redeem herself, and then maybe that's when the volcanic activity begins, when they get to the island. But they would have never have done that with this movie, because for some reason they wanted it to be 2 movies in one, and by doing this, they cripple a lot of potential emotion. The movie does try to tie the ending of the 2 sections together by having Claire emotionally watching the dinosaurs suffocate to death, but the plot isn't cohesive enough for that symmetry to shine through. I'm not the biggest fan of Blue and Owen,
Jesus.
but I do think there was a spark of emotion to their relationship in Jurassic World that could have evolved here. And the way to do that would be make Owen's search for Blue mean something. Let there be stakes, let there be drama, give it time to breathe. But nope, Fallen Kingdom rushes the entire thing with finding Blue. It takes like 1 minute of Owen searching with no buildup. It doesn't want to actually work to generate any emotional payoff. It just wants to show us old home videos, which are incredibly cringeworthy and emotionally manipulative. That's how they get us to try to care about this. And worse, the movie just keeps trying this over and over. When Blue gets shot, there's no real emotion because we know Blue's not actually going to die. So the only way to get those emotions juiced up is to have Maisie watching the home videos, complete with cheesy Chris Pratt narration.
She's curious. She's showing empathy.
Oh, and I almost forgot, Blue the raptor cries in this scene. What the hell is happening? It's ridiculous. Animals get dust in their eyes and they may tear up, but rarely do they cry because they're sad. Why did I say rarely? They never cry when they're sad. Fallen Kingdom is so obvious with how it tries to manufacture emotions. I buy Claire being remorseful from the first movie, but this philosophical existentialism she's all about now doesn't feel like the same person.
Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur?
Yes, Claire, I remember watching Jurassic Park in the early 90s. We all do. That doesn't mean I buy how you went from someone who didn't really care about her employees to now bringing them coffee every morning and giving out high fives. Fallen Kingdom's mantra is just go with it, even if the emotions are unearned.
Never thought I'd see one in real life.
That look says it all. It says, we're just repeating what we know worked in the first movie to manipulate the audiences. Frankly, I'm surprised when they don't force emotions on us, like when Claire arrives at Lockwood's estate. And that's what this movie does over and over. It emotionally manipulates us. Like, the big tentpole gut punch this movie tries to throw is the Brachiosaurus disappearing into the smoke and ash as the island is devoured by the volcano. I'll admit this moved me in theaters. I mean, the imagery is tragic, the music is swelling, there are beautiful people looking beautifully sad. It checks all the boxes, and yet it still feels very manufactured. This annoys me because there's no work that went into generating this emotion. They're just playing on pure nostalgia and then telling us that this is extra sad now because that Brachiosaurus that was feeding itself on trees is now feeding itself on death. Fallen Kingdom forces emotions on us. Nothing feels natural, grounded, or honest to the characters or story. That's why Claire is letting out a primal scream as she's gunning the engine on this truck. There's a reason why I use this shot as part of my thumbnail for this video, because it literally screams emotional dishonesty. About the only emotion that's honest here is the horror atmosphere in Fallen Kingdom. Is horror actually an emotion? It's not. But still, strike number one is the fact that this movie goes more for a horror slant. The entire opening is so far from how these movies usually construct their set pieces, relying on lighting and shadows to generate some extremely creepy shots. I don't think this movie's ever actually scary, it's too silly for that, but its atmosphere is palpable, especially moments like this. After this prologue, the movie feels like a traditional Jurassic Park movie for about 45 minutes, but then takes on a much more gothic horror vibe during its second half at the Lockwood estate. I have a lot of issues with story beats and execution of things like the Indoraptor, the dinosaur auction, Maisie Lockwood as a plot device, but the creepy mansion is such a unique setting for one of these movies, and J.A. Bayona plays with shadows and standard horror movie tropes in a way that's wholly unique for the series. Again, it's never actually scary, but things like Wheatley's death and Eversol being eversalted in the elevator are examples of schlocky horror elements that work surprisingly well. Even when plot lines are utterly irrelevant to me caring at all, there's some nice touches like this moment which feels almost like it's pulled from a psychological horror movie. Iris! The horror in this movie just elevates the material in a way that I really appreciate. Like, it makes the second half of Fallen Kingdom so much more watchable than it has any right to be. I mean, I think the Indoraptor is a cheap follow-up to the Indominus Rex.
20 millions!
Oh wow, that is expensive. So maybe not cheap, but it feels like the same thing as the Indominus. Like whatever gobbledygook Henry Wu is saying about how this thing is more advanced, I'm hearing the exact same exposition as I did in Jurassic World. But the horror sensibilities associated with the Indoraptor are what makes this movie memorable, and it's why I prefer the museum scene or the Indoraptor stalking Maisie from outside the mansion into her bedroom to any of the dinosaur scenes in Jurassic World. There's some real creativity that makes this movie stand out, which is strength number 2. Like the dinosaur stampede down the mountain, no matter how unrealistic it looks, no matter how much CGI it is, and no matter how many times the trailer showed it, it still is a thrilling change up to the characters just running from dinosaurs in a normal scene. While I never feel like they're in any danger, even in the claustrophobic one-shot inside of a sinking gyrosphere, there is a sense of tragedy watching dinosaurs plummeting off the island in a desperate bid for survival. It's emotional without being manipulative like the later scene with the Brachiosaurus. Okay, that is emotionally manipulative, but my point still stands, and I guess I should take this little interlude to ask you guys to like and subscribe to my channel if you're enjoying this video. I work really hard on them, and I'm just trying to grow this community, and I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers, so I want to hit that number. Oh shit, I'm already at 1,000 subscribers. I hit it a couple of days ago. Yes, I'm the best! Actually, no, you guys are the best for subscribing to my channel, so thank you all. But back to this video. Fallen Kingdom redeems the T-Rex from its showboating by finally treating it like an actual threat for the first time since The Lost World in the scene in the crate. This is a creative way of recontextualizing the danger of these gargantuan creatures and mixes some great practical animatronic effects with humor that doesn't go overboard.
Oh, I'm not gonna climb up there.
You'll be okay. It's like riding a bull.
Well, I didn't grow up in a rodeo.
But as much as the creative juices are flowing during scenes like this, it's also shockingly predictable in those same set pieces, which is weakness number 2. You can be as creative as you want in structuring a scene, but when you put characters in those set pieces that you know are going to survive and have no chance of dying, there is zero suspense, zero tension, and it's predictable as all hell. I mean, Owen isn't gonna die, neither is Claire. They worked too hard to make Franklin into comic relief. Zia is a sassy, no-nonsense female character who the movie doesn't really know what to do with other than keep alive. Maisie has a sad backstory, being a cloned kid and all, and Blue the Raptor is the first dinosaur to ever shed a tear. The movie doesn't have the guts to kill any of them. Instead, it's only the bad guys who meet their ends, or James Cromwell, who dies in everything I've seen him in. So even when the horror vibes are working, it's painfully predictable. The only thing more predictable is that characters will have some quip locked and loaded that's completely inappropriate for the amount of danger they are in.
See? Not a T-Rex! How is this better?
You see that?
The movie is also predictable because it freaking repeats itself. One dinosaur mucus joke could work, but a second one? Imagine if Jurassic Park did this with Malcolm.
That is one big pile of shit.
You're right. There's no trace of
That is one
wildlife
big pile of
berries.
shit.
Even the prologue's use of shadow, while great, ends up cannibalizing itself. Like, this is a good shot. This is a good shot. This is a good shot. Did we need them all within 1 minute of each other? And then anytime a dinosaur pops out at the last second to either take down a character or another dinosaur, you just come to expect it. Nothing is unpredictable in this movie. It's like director J.A. Bayona found a visual language he liked and was good at, and then just kept recycling it over and over. And that's how I feel about the characters. They're predictable. Owen and Claire have their moments where I genuinely chuckle.
Be careful.
If I don't make it back, remember, you're the one who made me come.
Okay, without context, that sounds like a dirty line that would be unpredictable for this movie, but in context, their arc is a repeat of Jurassic World. It's the same, they don't like each other at the beginning, and then they slowly start to like each other, even though the movie doesn't really show why, and then they abruptly kiss, and we're supposed to be like, hooray! And then you realize the new characters are even worse. Wheatley is so obviously evil, tranquilizing Owen without hesitation and just carrying around a pair of pliers to make sure everyone knows how he has no conscience. Except when it comes to Zia, who the movie struggles to explain why Wheatley wouldn't just kill her after she saw him tranquilizing
I
Owen.
think we have the drop on you, sweetheart.
She's losing blood. And if I don't treat her, she'll never make it back to camp.
Bullshit. What movie are we watching here? Fallen Kingdom's never gonna kill Blue. Wheatley would know that. Then again, what do I expect from a movie that has Franklin in it? This character has two character traits. Tech expert, and he's not manly. And Fallen Kingdom will never let you forget that second attribute.
Need some bug spray? Bug spray?
If they kept it restrained to moments like this, Franklin could have been funny, but instead they have him say stupid things all movie long just to make himself look lame and to make Chris Pratt seem like a badass.
Nervous flyer?
You ride a 1,000-pound horse that's been abused all its life?
I rode my motorcycle through the jungle with a pack of raptors.
We're not compatible.
Maybe the only unpredictable character in this movie filled with predictable characters is Lockwood, who is somehow not a bad guy despite being played by James Cromwell. But it's offset by the fact that Eli Mills is yet another obvious bad guy. They do try to make it more surprising than Wheatley by having Rafe Spalls play up the nice guy angle, but it's too earnest and this movie is too uninspired to go anywhere other than this obvious direction.
Do you understand the complexity of creating an entirely new life form?
I know, but I understand the complexity of paying for it.
Mills is pure capitalist. There's no nuance whatsoever. He wants money, so he throws a dinosaur auction literally the same night that they are brought in from Isla Nublar. Like, this makes the weaponizing raptors plot from Jurassic World feel well executed. And when a movie is uninspired with its bad guys, what better way to reveal they are a bad guy than by having them yell at the token child? And speaking of that token child, her storyline has no business being in this series. Maisie Lockwood is my third weakness to Jurassic Park Fallen Wingdom. Just because I said Jurassic Park instead of Jurassic World, why did I end up accidentally saying Jurassic Wingdom? I don't know. This is better to talk about than Maisie Lockwood because Maisie Lockwood sucks! Every scene with her is dull because there's nothing to be invested in. We don't know Benjamin Lockwood, so why do we care about his granddaughter? And it quickly becomes obvious that she's just going to be a plot device and a representation of Fallen Kingdom's forced themes.
You two. You're the parents of the new world.
Yep, this trio forms a family unit at the end to smash this theme over our heads. But rather than do the emotionally honest thing and work to make this character compelling, the movie just makes her grandfather John Hammond's old business partner and dear friend. It relies on our fondness of a character we hadn't seen in 20 years at the time of this movie's release to care about this stupid little girl. And then rather than have this connection develop Hammond in any way, it instead develops Lockwood, a character that we know for all of like 15 minutes before he's killed. And the movie thinks we care that Lockwood's genetic manipulation was not on dino DNA, it was on human DNA, because this series just can't stop shoving shit into every orifice. Like seriously, Maisie Lockwood is a clone of Benjamin Lockwood's daughter? Who wanted this plot in this series? Like who cares at all? And yet the movie tries so hard to make it seem like Owen and Claire should be deeply invested in this.
You have no idea what she is. Lockwood never had a grandchild.
There's no reason Mills would be telling them this other than the movie needed a big revelation. But this revelation shouldn't matter to these characters because they barely know Maisie. Like they literally met her 10 minutes ago. And Owen, I'm not even sure he knows who Lockwood is. And it becomes painfully obvious that they wrote this movie backwards. They wanted this kid to sell the theme about Claire and Owen becoming the parents of the new world without it making any sense. Mills' argument about Claire using the Indominus Rex for financial gain in the first movie almost has merit, but when it comes to Owen, he's all like, and you trained the raptors. Didn't you know what was gonna happen? No man, I didn't know you were gonna auction off dinosaurs to the Russian mafia. Like, that just didn't cross my mind. And yet Owen gracefully accepts defeat because this movie can't stay emotionally honest.
This one's on me. I showed him the way.
Preposterous. This movie wants us to feel like these characters are morally gray, but then it shies away from actually going there. At the end, when the dinosaurs are suffocating, Claire is moments away from releasing them into the wild. Does the movie have the guts to give Claire real pathos, make her more complex or interesting? No, they're gonna let the stupid little clone kid that they wrote into the script specifically for this handle that because
I had to. They're alive. Like me.
not for long if you keep interrupting me. I hate this kid. This is so dramatically unsatisfying. There's so much potential with the dinosaurs being released into the mainland. That potential is actually my third strength. But Fallen Kingdom drops the ball immediately by having Maisie be the one to do it. Like it or not, Claire and Owen are the protagonists of this trilogy, and they should be the ones to drive the narrative forward. Instead, they're just driving Maisie around because they are the parents of the new world now. And as for that potential, it is a strength. There are so many directions the next movie could have gone with the dinosaurs out in the mainland. So many possibilities. The world is literally their oyster. But I'm gonna cut strength number 3 short because even if you haven't seen Jurassic World Dominion, which I have, you should know just how predictable Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is and how emotionally dishonest it is that any goodwill you might get out of this ending for Jurassic World Dominion will certainly be squandered.